How you doing, everybody? I'm Bryan Mirando. This is the Free For All podcast. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today as we continue our punk rock marathon episode number 2. In just a few moments, I'll be sitting down with Rebecca Lee Russell. Now, I know everybody was expecting Cheetah Chrome from the Dead Boys to be joining me this week, but as I said last week, unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts, we had to push his interview back, so he'll be joining me next week. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, that when we're recording these episodes, they are not done the week of. I did get a chance to sit down with Cheetah Chrome yesterday, and he did open up with everything that has been going on with Jake Holt and AI, and I decided, instead of making everybody wait an extra week, I decided to be ever so kind and post what he had to say about the whole Jake Holt leaving the Dead Boys situation and AI. So that part of the interview is up right now and is the first installment of a brand new segment we are adding to this channel called Free For All Exclusives. They're going to be pretty much exclusive clips from the show, as well as bonus unreleased material that I've had from all these other interviews. It's something I've been working on for quite a while now, and you'll be seeing a lot more of it, probably the beginning of 2025, so everybody please stay tuned for that. And make sure to check out that exclusive, and make sure to tune in next week for the full interview with Cheetah Chrome. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is a musician, actress, model, director. Has starred in movies such as Hardcore Logo and has gone on to direct a stream of films as well as music videos, and just recently became the newest member of the band White Trash Debutantes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rebecca Lee Russell, aka Vixxen. Rebecca Lee Russell, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here today.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Now, for some of my fans, they might not be very familiar with you. Do you mind just giving us a little background of you and what you've done in your career?
First job in show business?
Yeah.
First job in show business was, I got cast to play, I was a mascot in, Candace Wonderland, which is, their Disneyland. And I was in the Dancing Mercenary show, and I auditioned against all these other kids to be in the show, and I worked there all summer, and it was 5 shows a day in the heat, but I got my union card, I got to be in a Coke commercial, I got to be in a McDonald's, I'm in New York City. So that was my first job, and then from there I auditioned and I got on as a ZZ Top girl during their play with them live. I basically came out of the wings and threw car keys into the audience. And so that was my second job in show business. After that I became a model, and then from there I moved to Los Angeles and Vancouver, and I started a band called Sex with Nixon. And then I was in Los Angeles, and I was going to Lee Strasberg, and I was working as a taxi dancer in downtown. And if you don't know what a taxi dancer is, it means it's like sweet charity. Men come in, and you kind of are there in a lineup basically, and they have a punch out card. You have a punch out card, and if they want to spend time with you, you have to go, and then they punch you out. And it's this thing that began during World War II, and then you can dance with them because there's a little disco area, but they can't touch you or anything like that.
Okay, I was just about to say, wait a second. No offense.
In Japan, it's called hostessing, and they still do it, but it was this thing that started for lonely soldiers, basically. We'll go to a taxi dance place, and you get to have conversation, and then they have to buy drinks, bottle service, and stuff like that. So that's how the club makes money. And it was me and 2 other girls. So we all went back to Vancouver, and we were hanging out in the Railway, which is a really famous music place in Vancouver. It's where a lot of musical bands played, and it's very historical. And so we were there, we decided that we'd start a band, come lick the pole, and our first show we were going to play for Music West at 2 in the morning, and we're following a band called White Trash Debutantes. And so we played the show, and then the next day I got a phone call, and it was Chris Taylor, who's the drummer from the Payolas, and he was
the videographer.
Yeah, and he was the videographer at Much Music, and Much Music is the Canadian MTV.
Yeah.
And so he said, we want to interview you with your band on Monday. And we thought it was just going to be this one-time thing. And do you guys have a video? And I was like, okay, that'd be great. Yes, we will have a video for you. So I hung up the phone. I'm like, okay, we have to make a video. And so we went into the studio like that day, and I was like, okay, well, I may as well write an anthem. So I wrote the Lick the Pole theme song, and we did that. I only have like 1 or 2 takes to do it. Then the guy that called me said, give us the song and we'll come into the studio and we'll film a video and we'll make the video. So now we have a free video. We go in there, we do it, they edit it, like finish at 11 midnight, and then that Sunday we were interviewed by Terry David Mulligan from Much West, and the video went on the Wedge, which is our like indie channel thing, and we got into regular rotation, and then suddenly we were playing really big gigs.
Well, that music video you mentioned, that was actually on YouTube a couple years ago. I don't know why it got taken down. I've seen that video for Lick the Pole.
I know it was. I don't know what happened to it. Like, I can't trace it. But 2 different sets of people are sending me copies of that with the interview at the beginning, which isn't.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and that wasn't on YouTube. It was like our interview, and so I'll put that up really soon. And so, so after we were in Hardcore Logo, and Bruce McDonald, the director, I was like telling him I wanted to write a movie for him, and so I later wrote and cast this feature called Stuff, which did really well. Did lots of festivals, and I directed a lot of music videos for other bands. Did a couple of documentaries, and mostly I'm working as a filmmaker now. So
now I was talking with author Robert Lawson.
Oh yeah, I love that guy.
And he was telling me that you helped him with his first book, Wheatfield Empire, and that your dad had a connection with the Guess Who?
Yeah, so my dad is a guitar player out of BC, and he was on a TV show called Let's Go, and the guys, like, they were playing all, like, Smiling Buddha Cabaret, all those places in Vancouver. They're the young guys playing those places, and it was, everyone coming out of there was, like, Chilliwack and the Guess Who and Neil Young and all these Canadians that were playing there, and then also in Toronto. So my dad later was in the Village, and that was a really important musical scene. And then he was in the live band for the Toronto production of Godspell, which was like Gilda Radner was in that, and Mark Shore was in that, and it's where he met Paul Schaefer. And they did a lot of studio stuff together. Like, and my dad just moved into just being like a studio musician. He did like so many commercials and movies, and was on so many albums, and he's still getting.
What was your dad's name?
Bryan Russell.
Okay. Did he end up being on any of the Guess Who records?
No, but he played in stuff with them on all their solo stuff, and
okay.
They're all part of the same gang. Like, because my dad is a session guy, so he did little session stuff with them. My dad wasn't really a band guy. He's more like he backs up really big names.
He's like the Nicky Hopkins of Canada, you'd say.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why I asked him what his name was. I was like, I don't remember ever seeing his name on any of the Guess Who albums. Oh, the solo stuff he worked on it. Okay.
But he did a couple of TV shows also. One of the shows, which is actually anyone who loves music, it's fucking awesome. It's called In Session.
In Session, is that the YouTube channel In Session?
No, it's a 70s TV.
Oh, okay. It's farther back then. Okay, I thought you were talking recent time. Okay.
You'll get it because it was so Canadian looking. It's just 2 cameras in a recording studio and big name bands coming and playing in the recording studio. And so there's one on YouTube, which is amazing, and it's him playing with Johnny Winters and Dr. Hook. So he was always playing with all these guys. So that's played on lots of hit records and stuff like that. But like, bands are bands, right? Like, but bands play with backup people all the time.
Does he still do it?
He still plays.
I'm just saying, does he still do the session work, or not so much anymore?
He would do it, but he's kind of retired. But he's not retired, like, goes around and does gigs. Like, he lives in Penticton, and he gets hired all the time. Like, he'll do a big party for New Year's.
All right, so he's still playing music. He's just not doing as much session work as he used to do. All right. Now, Rebecca, I became aware of you guys from the movie Hardcore Logo.
Yeah.
That movie came out in 97, 98. I got to see the movie probably, when I was like 10. So it was probably about maybe eight, 9 years after it got released. And I remember I saw the name Lick the Pole. I didn't think you guys were like a real band. I thought that was just like a made-up name that they might have just found some local guys in a bar, just shot them and just changed the name just because the name sounded so, like, no offense, like, ridiculous. I'm like, it sounded like it fit to the movie.
No, it's because I mean, like, I came up with the name and I made it ridiculous. We only thought we were going to play one gig. So wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to have to talk about Lick the Pole for the next, like, 30 years. I thought we were just doing this after hours fun thing and we were all wearing see-through nighties and with boas. Like, I just didn't know people were going to take it seriously. We were just having fun. And so, yes, that is the name of the band. And if it sounded like a made-up band, it's because literally I made up that name I thought it would be funny and it'd be memorable and people would tell other people, oh, I saw this band called Lick the Pole, and it would look good on a marquee. But coming up with a serious name was like the last thing on my list of what I wanted to do with that band. It's like an exploitation band.
Yeah, because then I remember I saw it years later. I said, is that a real fucking band? So I went and looked it up, and that's when I saw the video for Lick the Pole.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it is a real band. But what was it like working with Bruce McDonald in Hardcore Logo?
Well, it was great. I met Bruce. So one of the people that worked with us was this guy named Keith Porteous, and Keith Porteous was managing 5440 at the time, and he's the one that got the book to Bruce, like from Michael Turner, and said, you got to read this. And then Bruce was coming into town to meet with Callum, and so Keith is like, Bruce wants to hang out with you. So I remember we met at some restaurant. So I was like, okay. So we met at the restaurant, and then I was like, let's go to the Five. And the Five is like the strip bar of Vancouver in those days. It's where Tommy Lee used to hang out, and is where Courtney Love stripped. And so I dragged them in there, and then I jumped on stage and stripped basically, and then I got kicked out, and then they left, and then I jumped on their car.
I was just about to ask you that question because I read that story in Noel Baker's book. Yeah. What possessed you to jump on their car? Did they tell you this was going to be an action movie or something?
No, that's just the way I was. We were just like that. Like, we were legitimate. We did not start a punk rock band, really. We just started a band, but then punk rock people just decided to call us punk rock. There's nothing really punk rock about us except for our behavior. So we were just like that, and he was a director, and so I guess I was just trying to get a gig. And then Noel wrote about it, and then my band was in it, and then Bruce and I began to collaborate. I wrote a Gladiator movie for him called Lucky Ho, and we just became like collaborators. He executive produced my first feature stuff, and I have been a close friend of his and collaborator now for a long time.
Now, you were supposed to be at the screening on Thanksgiving in Canada, but you weren't able to make it. What ended up happening?
Yeah, paperwork get changed around.
Yeah.
And so I called ahead to do some paperwork stuff. Because you shouldn't go back and forth across. You're in the middle of paperwork stuff. If they tell you need something, and so unfortunately, ran out of time because it just comes when it comes.
Well, that just happened recently with Matthew Good. He was supposed to come to Buffalo a couple months ago. He had 2 dates scheduled for the States. But unfortunately, they changed their work visas or travel visas or something. They changed it in the last 6 months where they needed some more paperwork and didn't have enough time to do it. They couldn't get their visas in time.
Yeah, my stuff from 6 months ago, it was changed. I didn't know that it was changed. So Matthew Good was actually an original member of Lick the Pole.
Really?
Yeah, I've got pictures of him. I'll send it to you. And because everyone's in
What was he like? So I always ask people about him.
He's like a brother. He's like a brother to me. And Rod, Bruno, plays with him now, and Rod is my original guitar player. So he's part of our family. Like, we all started out, we're Town Pump kids. We all played at the Town Pump. We went to each other's gigs. And I started, when Lick the Pole started, it was like the grunge of Vancouver scene, which was coexisting with the grunge scene in Seattle, basically. So we had our own scene too that they came into and came out of, and it was just really, really social. And you'd go to 4 or 5 bars a night and see all your friends play, and everything was packed. It was just such a great time in music in Vancouver. It was a real magical time. A lot of music came out of it. A lot of great producers were there. Like my guitar player, Bill Morrison, plays with Skinny Puppy, and our sound guy was Dave Ogilvy, rave, famous fucking genius sound producer extraordinaire. He did our sound. Like, everyone was hanging out together, everyone was having fun, everyone was influencing each other, everyone was partying, everyone was hooking up. It was just like a really cool time.
Stuff that went on in like the LA scene, but in Canada. And I think that's the one thing I think music is missing now. It's like everybody's competing with each other instead of getting along with each other. Even Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses said when he was in Seattle before he moved to LA, he says that's the way they were. We share ideas with each other. We shared equipment with each other. We helped one another out. He said when they hit the LA with Guns N' Roses, it was like a fucking free-for-all. People were sabotaging the flyers. People were, fucking with each other, equipment and stuff. It was like almost like little child games that they were playing, and he wasn't really used to that at that time.
Everything was open. It was grunge.
They would join other bands and shit, too.
Grunge was a romantic time.
We need a guitar player. Okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's really weird in the way the scenes and businesses have taken over and changed.
And it definitely changed. I mean, Bruce Allen is memorably quoted, and he's that really famous music and just like agent manager to everybody, including Biff. He said, I went out for lunch and Motley Crue was famous, and then I came back after lunch and it was like Nirvana killed everyone.
Back to Bruce McDonald real quick. What I liked about his work is the way he makes his movies, and he doesn't try to cater to the fucking studios and everything, which I think is something that's a dying form now.
He doesn't.
I mean, I know there's rules where there's rules where he has to, the studio's, forcing this, but he tries to, as little as possible, to try to please them, but still tries to do what he wants to do, but...
He is a rebel. Yes, he is a rebel that doesn't play by anybody's rules, and... for a long time, he didn't have a cell phone even, and the studios were giving him cell phones and putting it in his pocket and shit, and he'd just throw it out, and he just resisted. He resists all that stuff. He likes records, and he likes film, and he likes music and film and art and stuff like that. All these things. He just can't stand
corporate scene. There's even in Noel Baker's book right here, he mentioned some of the struggles they had to go to with the fucking studios getting involved with the movie and everything and controlling, you have to have this here, have to have this, and that's happened with almost every filmmaker's got to go through that problem.
Oh yeah.
Even Rob Zombie mentioned one time, it's such a pain in the fucking ass because when you're doing a movie, and I'm sure you know this, you have an idea for a scene, but you're on set how cool would it be if we did it this way? That's a great idea. But we have to fucking call up the studio and ask them permission if we can do this. No, that's fine, but we got to call the studio up and it's going to take them 3 days to get back to us. Well, we don't got 3 days. We got maybe 3 hours.
It's true. You know what? If you don't want to deal with the studio, make your fucking movie on your phone. It's all money. The reason why you have to deal with studios is because you don't have the money to project, and they have it. And you have to do it in order to have a professional union, good look, have music rights. You have to deal with the fucking studios. Otherwise, why would you deal with the studios? There's no reason. It's just that they're basically loan sharks.
Pretty much.
And then, in exchange for giving you money, they're like, here, I'll give you some suggestions that make no sense that I want you to put in the movie so I can sit in the theater and go to my friend, I came up with that.
That's probably the reason why they do it. Even Rob said what we ended up doing is we would just fucking film what we wanted to film and then just deal with the fucking assholes later and say fuck it.
I am not saying that every producer is a douchebag, okay? I think a lot of producers are fucking awesome, and especially producers who are director producers or actor producers or writer producers. I'm not saying that producers that aren't those things are fucking assholes either. I'm just saying there are some that are. because anything about Hollywood attracts a certain kind of person who's in it for maybe the wrong reasons, and then you have all these starry-eyed people who are, in it for the art and all these other reasons. But then there's some people that see an opportunity to take advantage of damaged people, and it attracts a lot of them, and some of them maybe think, I don't have any talent, I can get in by being a producer, and maybe that's what they do. But I'm just saying, like, those people are pretty bad, but the rest of producers that I know are awesome.
Well, it seems to me the ones that are like the ones you said that are the pretty cool ones, they're the ones that started out being filmmakers and being directors, and they got into the position that they are, so they've always been that way. Where some of these guys just got into the position not knowing shit about directing, not knowing shitting about producing, not even knowing shit about how movies are made or anything. They just got in there because they knew somebody or they had money or they had the right connections.
They want a fucking actor, or they want to impress some chick that they can find. And basically, it's either...
It's just like a business to them, and they really don't give a fuck about the industry. All right, now... After Bruce did Hardcore Logo, he ended up releasing a sequel to the movie, Hardcore Logo 2. And the star in that movie was Care Failure from the band Die Mannequin. Well, I got to know a little bit and got to become friends with her. She was great. Real quick before we move on, just want to share this real quick. Because I got this message on my channel. I just want to share this with everybody. This is awesome. And I'll get into what this is all about. But she sent me this message. I'm not going to say the person's name just for their privacy. The comment is out still on YouTube so everybody can go see it. But I just don't want to say the person's name live on the air for their privacy. This person goes, I appreciate you keeping her spirit alive as her family, though. Seeing her image used for anything else these days is weird. Please focus on her art. All the gossip that has been wild. Even this documentary irks me. I respect what you do, and please just be true. And I really appreciate that message. It really meant a lot to me that you sent me that. That message was commented on a video I posted from an episode that was actually made by Bruce McDonald. It was for a series called The Raw Side Of. It was an 8-episode series about different bands. Like, they had 8 different bands, and each week was a different group. And the one episode was with Die Mannequin, and Bruce McDonald directed. It's a great documentary.
Amazing.
And it's on my YouTube channel right here. You can check it out, everybody.
This is why Bruce is so amazing and important in Canadian culture, because that is it's like French New Wave. It's like a French New Wave-ish movie. No one makes stuff like he has such an amazing vision for what he wants his films to look like, and I love that that's his idea of the doc. He's like a jazz player of filmmakers, and I'm so glad how unconventional it is, because that really captures her in the most beautiful way.
It is great.
It's so great, isn't it? It's like it's just beautiful to watch and interesting and cool, and it's not a format. It's not like trying to do some format or anything like that. It breathes.
And I actually, to be honest with you, I thought the second movie, and this isn't bashing the first movie. The first movie's a fucking classic. We all can agree. It's always been considered one of the greatest Canadian films of all time. It's been on several lists. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. But the second one I actually enjoyed a little bit more because they kind of went a little bit, deeper into it. I know Hardcore Logo, they had to kind of rush into the fucking, the movie just goes boom, hits you quick. This kind of took some time, and it was really good.
Which one did you like better?
That's a hard question to answer. I like the second one. The first one's a classic. The second one, I'm going to say, was a little bit better than the first one. What did you say? Did you see the second movie?
I did. I was at the, when it premiered at Whistler, at the Whistler Film Fest. It feels like a different movie. Doesn't feel like a sequel, but
no, it doesn't.
Just in the same way that Hardcore Logo, the movie, doesn't feel like Hardcore Logo, the book. Hardcore Logo 2 isn't like Hardcore Logo 1. It's just like they're their own entity. Just this name, but it really could have been
a totally different movie.
Yeah.
Now, you got to know Care Failure too, right? Being in Canada and everything, you got to hang with her at all?
I have met her. I have run into her. I have seen her play. She was actually playing at Whistler, so we were all hanging out with Bruce. And
such a wonderful person.
Such a fucking unique, gifted, poetic, interesting, haunted, has this otherworldly kind of on a different parallel universe kind of emotional spectrum and very cool and very nice, and not a bitch, and all of those really great things that are rare when you have somebody who's so pretty and so talented and is doing well, and just a wonderful person. I was really, really happy to and lucky to have met her.
I actually got in contact with her. This is a true story. I was sitting one night, I was drinking. I had Die Mannequin on. And like the 7th, 8th, 9th shot of like Jack Daniels hit my system. And I followed her on Instagram, so I don't know what possessed me to do this. I'm like, I'm gonna message her. I'm gonna message her on Instagram. I'm gonna do it. Watch me do it, guys. I'm gonna do it. No, I ended up doing it. I'm like, hi, how you doing? I'm a fan of yours. What I said, I can't remember what I said. I forgot about it. Like 3 days later, phone went off. It's Care Failure from Die Mannequin responding to my message. I'm like, gotta be fucking kidding me. And she was so cool. We talked for like 2 hours just texting back and forth. We were talking about Bruce McDonald, the movie and everything. Such a cool person. And after that, we kept in touch, and she'd talk to me and tell me some of the projects that she was working on and some of the shows that she was doing, because she was DJing for a short time and everything. I did get to know her really well.
She is, yeah. She's super cool. And I'm so glad that there's like Hardcore Logo 2 and that documentary and her music and like all that stuff. She has a good amount of stuff that she left behind for us to like get to know her and like appreciate who she was and like be a fan, like I would say like I'm a fan of hers.
Yeah.
More than anything else. I met her, we hung, but the way I feel about her because of how much I admire her is I'm like a fan.
Well, documentary real quick is an amazing documentary. Now, part of it is kind of scripted a little bit, but most of it's real documentary stuff. Like, I know Julian Richings, who played Bucky Hates in the movie Hardcore Logo 1 and 2. He's in the beginning of it. And I didn't realize this. The guy who played Mr. Butterscotch was our actual manager. His real name is Paul Schul. He plays the manager as Mr. Butterscotch in the movie, but he was their actual manager. I didn't know that until someone told me about that. And I've seen Paul Schul in a couple other films. And I saw him in the movie like, oh, he's just playing the manager, because I figured the real manager wasn't really an actor. So they had to go find somebody to play this guy.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know that. That's a good question for...
Yeah, that was their actual manager. Somebody told me that. They knew him, too, and they said he worked with them for a long time.
And you know who else would be a good person to ask? Danny Novak, the cinematographer.
Yeah.
He knows all this shit also. He went up and he spoke at the Rio, at the Hardcore Logo thing, and I wasn't there, but every report back was, he's so great. He answers all the questions. He knows all the answers. He's a really good person. You should talk to him.
I would love to sit down and talk to him.
Yeah, if you want to ask questions about Hardcore Logo, of course there's Bruce and stuff like that, but Danny Novak can get in on it with you, in depth,
Well, I remember trying to get Noel Baker's book. It was easier to get crack than to get this book. It took me at least 6 months to try to find this fucking thing. So I remember when I was watching Hardcore Logo, I said, I wonder if there's anything else out there that's about this movie, because it's such a great movie and everything. I was like, is there a book, or is there like a documentary? Is there any, something I'm not seeing? And I found the book, but it was unavailable. And the only copies I could find were like $200, because I think the book might be out of print right now.
Yeah.
And so I went on this site called Thrift Books, and I put in like a thing like you can request, like if it comes back in stock, they'll notify you and you can reorder it. So I remember I did that, forgot about it, and then I got an email like 6 months later saying your book's available, and it was like $8 or something. I'm like, awesome, I'm buying that right now.
Sweet.
Like $300 for a fucking book? Like, you motherfuckers.
It's fucked up. You could get Noel to sign it for you now, and you could tell him.
I'd love to sit down with Noel Baker.
Well, the anniversary of Hardcore Logo is coming up, and I'm sure that they're going to be doing a lot of stuff. I'm sure that TIFF will do something. I'm sure that Montreal would do something. I'm sure, people, Bruce McDonald's beloved in our country, and so he deserves it.
I would love to bring them both on the show. It'd be an honor to sit down and talk to Bruce. Say, all right, we're kind of closing up here, but I want to talk to you real quick right now about Vixxen.
Okay. Well, so Vixxen is playing for the White Trash Debutantes. That is me with way less clothing. And kind of like Vixxen is a little bit of a Russ Myers, kind of like a switchblade sister type gal. And like, yeah, so I've been playing with White Trash Debutantes as Vixxen, and it's been really fun, and I'm building her wardrobe. And there's lots of leather, so much leather. And I'm really influenced by like a Judas Priest level amount of leather. I want the whole thing. And I did get a leather supplier in San Francisco, and they've been a leather place since the 70s, so they know their leather. And so it's really fun.
Now, as the White Trash Debutantes, they work on any records at all?
Not that I have heard, but everybody has always got another record in them, so you never know.
I wasn't that familiar with the White Trash Debutantes. I've heard of them. I remember the record, San Francisco. It was pretty good.
Oh my god, there's so many great songs. The one thing, actually, other than working with the amazingly iconic, like, queen of punk rock, Ginger Coyote, singing the White Trash Debutante songs, singing your songs are so fucking funny. Like, they're all amazing songs. They're all very classic punk rock songs. And I love the White Trash Debutante songs. They're really fun to play live. And so, like, yeah, you should definitely listen to all their music.
Well, I know with Ginger, I've seen her in a couple punk documentaries. She was also in, I think there was a Jim Carroll documentary she was involved in. Downtown Diaries.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah. And she did that one song with Jane County. What is it? Rock and Roll Republican?
Yep.
That came out, yeah.
So actually, there is a documentary being made of Ginger.
Oh, okay.
And hopefully it will be completed soon. And she talks, like, she does her whole history. And, you should also talk to her. You should get Ginger on your show.
I would bring her on. I would have no problem. I mean, I know I've seen shit that she's done with all the punk rock, but she would be interesting to talk to, too.
Oh, 100%. She's full of stories. She's an amazing, amazing person. And I can't, recommend listening to White Trash Debutantes music more. It's so good. And honestly, there's some of the greatest songs I've ever done. It's so much fun. Like, that is to me, there's a lot of, undiscovered hits with that band. And I think that Ginger's time is really, she's really back. She's back to playing. I think she's kind of, really ready to kind of explode on the scene. So, she's killing it. She was up on stage and the crowd went crazy, and she was so happy to be back up there, and so, this is a great time for Ginger.
I saw a video of one of the performances. I forgot which show it was at. It looked pretty good.
Was it the one where Mike from Faith No More was playing guitar?
I can't remember. It was a fan film.
I don't know, but
it was the full show, though. I can't remember what the... I don't think it mentioned what show it was.
It's so visual, too. People have a lot to look at with that band. And,
there's fucking 9 of you up there.
I know this is like James Brown. There's usually 15, 20 people on stage. Since I have known her in doing the first show with those, there was so many. I don't know if it was over enthusiastic audience members, whoever it was. She likes to bring people up, and I love that about her. It's exciting. She's an exciting performer.
Like I said, I wouldn't mind talking with her. She'd be great to bring on the show. Now, real quick before you go, I have a segment on this show called The Hot Seat. It's where I just ask you a couple generic questions just to get to know you a little bit better, if that's okay?
Okay, go.
Stones or Beatles?
Stones.
Why?
Fuckability.
Your all-time musical idol?
Freddie Mercury.
Okay. Now, I know you mentioned this before.
Everything.
I like Freddie Mercury. He's one of the greatest singers of all time. Next to Paul Rogers is Freddie Mercury, Paul Rogers.
Rock star. He did all of his rock star stuff he wanted to do. He lived perfectly exactly like how you want a rock star to be. Sound, live, dress, his parties, come on.
What did you think of Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie?
It was... I thought it was a good movie about Freddie Mercury's band, but it wasn't much about Freddie Mercury. It was like about the band. Like, who cares if the band were offended by his parties? Like,
they're actually filming, or they were supposed to be filming a second movie where they bring Adam Lambert into the group or something. There's like a sequel to that movie after Freddie dies.
I thought this is what happens when you die and your band is going to do your documentary. Is they make it about them. It wasn't about the Freddie. Do you know what Freddie Mercury movie I wanted to go see was the Sacha Baron Cohen one. You know that one? He was going to play Freddie Mercury. And it was going to be all the crazy parties. And I'm like, yes, I want to see that. Like, I want to see all the scandal and, like, Rome. I want to see that, the Caligula-ness of his life. And it was like a Disney movie, whatever that.
Well, I think they actually had their hands in making that movie, too, I think.
They did. They were the producers.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's on, Disney Plus or some shit now? I saw it on there or something. That's where you could stream it.
They wanted to stay away from all of that stuff because they were probably had a tour coming up. And so what? Good for them. They won Oscars. They made a lot of money. They didn't disgrace his name at all. But I do wish that an indie filmmaker would make the other side of the story.
Yeah. Make it just basically about him and not just, the band. Make it more about Freddie.
Yeah. In some kind of way. I don't even know what you could do, but... Or whatever. Just let it be. God, have we not asked enough of this man? So just let his awesomeness be.
Favorite music movie?
Music movie?
Yeah, like as I mentioned before, like Bohemian Rhapsody or something like that. What's your favorite?
Quadrophenia, because I am a mod. I started a mod. I was a mod. I was a mod. Like when I was in high school, that's what I was into. I was into that. I was into the Jam. I was into the Clash. I am sort of not, but also the Who, but not in the same, not as much as the Jam and the Clash. And I was definitely a mod, and I still love being a mod. I love that movie.
What biop would you like to star in, and who would you play?
Maybe I could do the Freddie Mercury as my male drag persona in noir, because I kind of did a Freddie Mercury. A lot of people thought I was doing Freddie Mercury, and I did do Don't Stop Me Now. That was one of in my repertoire. So I would like to do the crazy party scenes with Freddie Mercury indie movie.
Best concert you ever attended where you weren't on the bill?
I'm gonna say, okay, wait. Can I come back to that one?
Yeah.
I did think about that one because I've had a long life of seeing music.
Favorite Canadian band?
My favorite Canadian band it's actually, the band Slow, they then became a band called Copyright, and when they were Copyright, they did an album. It was really good. And, that's my favorite band, and that I would say it's the best album, my favorite Canadian album. So that, Copyright.
All right. You want to go back to the best concert, or you want me to move on to the last question?
Go to the last question.
Who is your Mount Rushmore of punk rock?
I'm sure everyone's doing the same one. It's Sid Vicious.
Okay.
And then... I'm going to say something controversial, okay?
Okay.
So Sid Vicious, Malcolm McLaren, and then Joey Ramone.
Yeah, one more.
Oh, and then Debbie Harry.
Okay. Mine would have to be, I'd have to probably agree, would go Sid Vicious because he's the ultimate punk rocker.
Yeah.
Joe Strummer for his lyrics.
Huh.
Joey Ramone I'd put up there. And I got to go with this one, and this is just me being biased because I'm a big fan, Johnny Thunders. Number 4.
Yes, but I would not consider him exactly punk rock.
He wouldn't consider himself punk rock either, but I had to go with Johnny.
I thought I would have gone...
Okay, take Johnny off and put Stiff Baders in. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do Stiff Baders, number 4. Because that is a good point you made.
Yeah, it had to be more purist. Because I was even...
He's even said himself, that's right, I've heard him even say himself, he doesn't consider himself punk, he's rock and roll.
He's considered punk, and it's yeah, she can, but she's just not totally, but yes. Yeah, and, she can be. No one would ever argue with it.
Yeah.
She's a CBGB's person. She's American punk rock royalty, but you have to put a British guy in there. no matter what. I didn't put in Billy Idol, but I could have. But I don't think he's exactly right for Mount Rushmore.
I had to put Strummer because I would have gone Johnny Rotten, but I had to go with, somebody. I didn't want to go to the same band.
Okay, I just remembered what my favorite concert I ever saw was.
All right.
Okay, so this is the truth. The best concert I ever saw was Barry Manilow.
Okay, that's cool.
In Vegas.
What year was this?
Sounded like 10 years ago.
Oh, okay, that's when he did that residency or whatever in Vegas.
Yeah. And it's in the old Elvis room. It's where you go. And so we were in a booth right beside the sound guy, and we became really friendly with him. And honestly, he really, live, he's a superstar, and you're in a small room of extreme fans. No one in there is half a Manilow fan. It's full Manilow. And so then not only that, it's hit after freaking hit after freaking hit. And he sounds incredible, and if you care about music and sound and engineering and musicianship and singing and all this stuff, it's like angels. Everything, the acoustics in the room, the whole show, it was so tight, and it was incredible, I guess. And it's I'm not the only one who feels this way. I know a couple of other musicians that are not into Barry Manilow per se, are just blown away by the professionalism of that show.
Well, Rebecca, it was really great talking to you today. I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you. I had a great time. It was honestly, I could talk to you all day.
Me too. All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Bye. All right, everybody, that's it for today. I really want to thank Rebecca Lee Russell for stopping by. I had a lot of fun. Everyone, please go and check out all her wonderful work. Check out the work she did with Lick the Pole, Hardcore Logo, the movie she directed, Stuff, Rick by the Hour, as well as the recent show she just got done doing with White Trash Debutantes. The links to everything will be in the description below. And please make sure to tune in next week as I'll be sitting down with legendary punk rocker Cheetah Chrome. A preview to that interview, as like I said before, is up right now on the channel, so go please check that out. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you do good to others like you do to yourself. I'm Bryan Mirando. See you next week.